Okay, so in today's video, we are going to go deeper on understanding what a primary key and a foreign key is. Okay, so in our previous video, I have already mentioned about primary key, and for the latest video, especially on the normalization video, I have talked about the foreign key. Okay, but now we're going to go deeper so that we could fully understand what are these things and how are we going to use them. Okay, so first is the primary key. So it is a unique identifier for each record in our table. Okay, so for example, in my example here, we have for example, in the students table, our primary key here is actually we have the stud ID. Okay, why? It is because this one here, for example, your school IDs, that identifies you for each of the records here. Okay, so when I say it's 205, that's Bea. Okay, why? It is because possible we also have here another La Checa Bea. Okay, but then it's not the same person as this Bea here. Okay, but then if ever these two persons, two people, okay, enrolled on the same school, then naturally they are going to have different student IDs. So therefore, the ID should be our primary key. Okay, why? It is because it is a unique identifier for each record. Okay, it ensures that each row can be uniquely identified and retrieved. Okay, the ID can uniquely identify, and through that ID, we could then retrieve the record of that specific person. Okay, it must contain unique values, so you can say they're unique and cannot have null values. Okay, a table can only have one, take note of this, one primary key, and it could be a single column or multiple columns, and that is what we call as composite key if ever there are multiple columns. So when does a multiple column is going to occur? If ever we could not see or we could not identify any single row that could be our primary key. So therefore, especially if ever that we would be dealing then with bigger projects that would involve a lot of tables, a lot of columns, okay? So it is possible that we could use composite keys, okay? Then it guarantees the distinction of each row in the table. So same as with that, okay? So to summarize, a primary key is the unique identifier for each record. That's what you're going to take note. Okay. Then what is a foreign key? A foreign key is a field or collection of fields in one table that refers to the primary key in another table. Okay, take note of that. It is a field or a column in one table that refers to the primary key in another table, and it establishes a relationship between two tables by linking them together. Okay, so we have this what we call as a relationship. Okay, but first we have this one. Okay, the main purpose of this one is this one here. Okay, it is a field that refers to the primary key in another table. In this example here, do we have any foreign key in our TBL courses? Actually there's none. We only have here our primary key. How about in our TBL students? Do we have any foreign key here? The answer is yes. What is our foreign key in our students table? Is we have the course field. Now I'm just going to call this one as stud course. It could be course ID. I'm just going to call it stud course ID. Okay? So, this is a foreign key that refers to the primary key from another table. Okay? And because of this foreign key, we have established a relationship between the two tables. Okay? Because instead that we are going to write, example, I'm going to write here BSIT, but then that could uh, there would be an anomaly that is going to occur based on what we have discussed in our previous videos. If ever we're going to write here BSIT, BSN, BS Cream, and so on. So that's why we just created here a primary key and created that as a foreign key in this table now. So instead that I'm going to write BSIT, I'm just going to get the primary key value here and write it here so that I would know that Mira, okay, then how would I know what is the course of Mira? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to look at the table here, the column here, the value, then look up to this table. I have here 1, then look at for the name, so we have there BSIT. How about La Chica? Bea, still 1. Then look up there. Take down the term there is look up. Okay? Because this is a lookup table for this table. Okay? So again, 1, then BSIT. So La Chica Bea is BSIT. How about Marchams? Number 2. Okay, so look up to this table. Then I could see number 2 here. Then I could see, it's nursing. Okay? So that's a foreign key. So there exists now a relationship between the two tables. Okay? So the relationship here actually is one course can have many students, or one student belongs to one course. Okay, that's the relationship. Now we could have the relationship that I'm talking now. We are going to have another discussion for that when we are going to have our topic on the entity relationship diagram, and that would be on the next video. Okay, as of now, I want you to concentrate on the foreign key and the primary key relationships. Okay, so how about on these two? Okay, so are there any relationship that exists between the two tables? Okay, actually there is, even though if we could not see any foreign key here, but we could see the relationship on the next, on a third table that we have created. Okay, so how does the relationship appear or exist on these two tables? Through the third table. Okay, so as you can see here, this is a foreign key from the student's table. Okay, and this is again a foreign key from the primary key on the TBL subjects. Okay, so the relationship here is one student can enroll in many subjects. Okay, one to many. Also, one subject can be taken by many students. Okay, so we have a many to many relationship in this table. So that is why we have here a table, a third table that exists between the two. Okay, so compare that with the relationship that we have here, wherein a student belongs to one and only one course. Okay, whereas here a student can have many subjects, and a subject can be taken by many students. That's why we have the third table that is created. Whereas here, one to many. No. one to one, okay, and one to many, meaning one course uh, can be taken by many students. Okay, in that case, if ever this record here has only one lookup or related record into this table, so we could just create directly here a primary key. Okay, no, it's a foreign key, I mean. Okay, now what's the purpose? Primary keys maintain referential integrity. Take note of this term, between related tables. They ensure that data remains consistent and connected across different tables. Okay, there is this what we call as referential integrity. So when you say referential integrity, and that is being enforced by a foreign key, that means all values here must be present on the primary key on the other table. So if ever we have another student here and I'm going to write here 3, that's still, there's no problem with that. Why? Because we have here 3. Then when I say 6, okay, so there's a red flag here. Okay, so if ever I have here a value of 6 and we have no 6 on the primary key, that means we have broken the this is what we call as referential integrity rule. So meaning we are using here a value that is not present in our lookup table. Okay, so that is why we must have to set, okay, this one here as a foreign key so that our database could enforce the referential integrity rule, wherein if ever we are going to add a value here that is not present on the lookup table, automatically the database is going to issue an error. Okay, so with here, if ever I'm going to have 444, okay, so it is going to see our lookup table here, so we don't have any 444 here, so therefore it is going to issue an error. Okay, so that's how important a foreign key is. Okay, typically used to enforce relationships. Okay, so same. Okay, so by this point, hopefully you have already understood the importance of foreign key, not just only the primary key but also with our foreign key. So how are we going to create our table? Okay, following now, for example, I'm going to create the tables here. Okay, then so we're going to have first our lookup table. So we have our TBL courses. Actually, I've created here already. I hope I could just copy and paste into our. Okay, so I have already opened my test database, so it has no tables yet. Paste. Okay, let's try. Then create table. Now I know that you already know how to create this one. So as you can see here, the course ID is our primary key. Enter. Okay, show tables. So I have now TBL courses. Describe TBL courses. Okay, save it there. Oh. Okay. It's okay. Supposedly it is auto increment, and I'm just going to follow this one. Okay, so that it would be, our video would be shorter. Okay, so on my next table here is I have the TBL students. Okay, and as you can see here, we have the course ID as our foreign key. So how am I going to set the course ID as my foreign key? So we have here, okay, so create table TBL students, then the usual stud ID in integer primary key, and I'm just going to have here varchar. Let's say 10. Okay, because it is possible x-101 or whatever. Okay, and this is what you're going to take note. Even though if they are numbers in form, but if ever they are not going to be used for computation, so set them as varchar, not integer. Okay, primary key, then until to the course, name and course. So name and stud, I'm just going to change this one to stud course ID. Okay, and the last statement here is we have foreign key, then course. No more course, but it is okay. So foreign key, we are identifying this one here as our foreign key. Okay, then references the lookup table, which is TBL courses with the primary key course ID. Okay, that's how are we going to create our primary key. So I'm going to copy. Okay, paste anyway, then enter. Okay, show tables. So we have now two tables, then describe TBL students. Okay, ID, name, and the course ID. Now, why is it int? Okay, it is because TBL courses, because our primary key here is also integer. Okay, then we have the subjects. I'm just going to copy subject code, and the last. Okay, so here we have two foreign keys. Okay, so as you can see here, we have the foreign key from the students, and we have another foreign key from our subjects. Okay, and by the way, I have created here an auto increment that will serve then as our primary key. But again, as I've said before, it is possible even if we are not going, if even we could omit actually this column here. Okay, so int stud ID. Now our stud ID is actually varchar, because I have changed. I think the stud ID to varchar 10. Okay, subject code, then foreign key stud ID. Okay, we have there the stud ID references or looks up to TBL students. So it looks up to the TBL students with the primary key, which is our stud ID. Okay, and another foreign key for the subject code references to the TBL subjects with the subject code. Okay, copy. We have these two here. Oh, it added the ID. Wait, this one here. Okay, I'm just going to follow is sub ID. so that we are just going to be consistent. Subject, student, subject ID, int primary key, it is auto increment. Copy, oops, and paste. Okay, so we have now the 4 tables created, okay, with those foreign key and referential integrity that has been set up through the use of the foreign key. What's this? The foreign key statement. Okay. Now, I'm just going to pause the video. I'm going to insert some records, okay, so that we could play with them later on. Okay. So I have now populated all my tables. Okay, so you can see here from TBL subjects. So I have these values. Then from my courses, so we have 1, 2, 3. Then my students, by the way, I have changed the IDs 1, 1, 2, and 4, and with their courses, and also with the stud subjects. Okay, so still, as you can see, my commands here are those that we have discussed. Okay, so for example, I want to display all students. Okay, so therefore it is going to display this one here. Okay, correct. We have the ID, the name, and the course ID. But how about if ever you are just a simple user? You're not the one who created this one. You do not know what SQL is. And you are going to see this data here. Okay? So you have no problem with the ID and the name. But what is the problem now? It is on the ID. So how would you know the actual name for the course of Binimira or all of the records that we have here? Okay, so that there arises now a problem. Okay, but before we are going to solve that, I'm going to show you. Take note that we have enforced a referential integrity, as I have said a while ago. So therefore, if ever the courses here are only we have 1, 2, and 3, I should not be able to add another student here with 4, 5, or 6. Okay, so I'm going to try to add or insert into TBL students. Okay, then we have the stud ID and stud name, and we have the stud course ID. Okay, then we have values. Let us say I'm going to add for the ID is 105. Then the name would be Macuse. And I'm going to add here a course that is not present into our table. Okay, I'm going to have here 4. Okay, so when I press the enter key, so as you can see here, I have an error. Okay, cannot add or update a child row. A foreign key constraint I could not see it all. Fails. Okay, test that TBL student constraint foreign key stud course ID references from the TBL courses. Okay, so we have broken the referential integrity rule. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to Okay, I'm going to change the 4 into 3. Enter. So, from TBL students. So, we could see now we have now added Marcus Lanzones from into my table. Okay, again, let's go back to the previous problem. 1, 1, 2, 3. So, an ordinary user do not know this one. Okay, so what we have here in our display is the ID. Where can we find the name of this course? It is from TBL courses. But in our statement, as you can see, we have only select asterisk from TBL students. So that is why we need a command so that we could incorporate or we could include the TBL courses into our SQL statement. Okay, so that we could get the name of these courses. Okay, so here comes now the inner join keyword. Okay, the inner join keyword selects records that have matching values in both tables. Okay, so anyway, we have set the referential integrity rule, so therefore we are assured that each of these have the matching values from its lookup table. Okay, and we have here our syntax. Okay, take note of the syntax. Select what are the column names that you want to display or retrieve from the first table, then inner join the second table on, take note, the related columns. Okay, so I'm going to follow this syntax from here. So I'm have select. Okay, so I'm going to get the stud name, comma, and I'm going to get the course name. Okay, so that is why here I'm going to have the course name from TBL students. Okay, inner join TBL courses. Okay, take note of the syntax. This I have changed this one to students, then this one to TBL courses on the related table. Okay, on stud course ID is equal to course ID. Okay, I did not include the table 1 and table 2. Let us try if this is correct. Enter. Okay, so as you could see here, we have now the name of their respective courses. Okay, now another version, if you could see here, it included table 1 dot column name, then table 2 dot column name. Actually, we're just going to have these aliases. Okay, if ever we are going to have the same column names. Okay, so if ever my column name in my stud name is also course ID, okay, so what will happen? It would be oops, I could not edit. So if ever course ID also, I'm just going to show you. Okay, on if ever I'm going to have this one, granted, okay, granted that the on my TBL students, instead of course stud course ID, I'm going to use also course ID. So in my inner join, I'm using now on course ID is equal to course ID, MySQL would not know from what table this comes from and from what table also this comes from. Okay, so that's why we are going to, if in that case, we are going to have TBL students dot, okay, the name of the table, and also on the other one, we have TBL courses dot course ID. Okay, that's why in my convention, usually I am adding a prefix. Okay. Now, another version is by using an alias. Okay, for example, select from TBL students A. Okay, so meaning I am assigning here A for my TBL students. Inner join TBL courses B. I am now assigning B as my alias for TBL courses. On, okay, on A dot, then B dot course ID. Okay, supposedly it should be A dot stud name and B dot course name. Enter. Actually, we have the same result. So the complete, by the way, is we have A dot and we have B dot. Oops, inner join on, and by the way, you could still have the other commands. For example, order by A dot stud name. So we have there same result, but it is now like this one, arranged alphabetically. Okay. So how about if we are going to display the name and subject? Okay, so we are going to use then this table. Okay, so this is lookup table for that and another lookup for this one here. Okay, so there are three tables that are involved. Okay, so I want to display the name and the subject description. Okay, so we're going to have select. I'm going to designate A to TBL students, A dot stud underscore name, comma, B for my course, B dot, no, subject I mean, so that is subject, subject description, from TBL students, assign it for A, then inner join TBL stud subject B, by the way, B, oh, no, I'm just going to have it C, okay, then on A that stud ID and stud ID here. Wait. Still stud ID and subject underscore code TBL stud subjects. Okay. A dot stud ID is equal to C dot, still we have stud ID. Okay. So it happened now, the one that I have discussed earlier, because on our TBL stud subjects, we have a stud ID, same with the lookup table, and also with the subject code, same with the lookup table, which is TBL subjects. Okay. Then another inner join TBL subjects. Wait. Okay, inner join TBL subjects. I'm going to have B because I have said I have there B for my subject description. Then on B that subject code. Wait. Where's the TBL subjects? Okay. Subject code and subject description. Okay. B the subject code is equal to C that still we have subject code. Ordered by A that stud name. Okay. I hope I got it right. Enter. Oops. There. TBL stud subject. What's the name of the table? Stud subjects. What I have here, only subject. TBL students. Okay, we have subjects. Then inner join subjects B on subject code is equal to subject code ordered by student name. Okay. Hey, actually I have a problem here. Wait, but anyway, as you could see, we have here the name and the subject descriptions. Okay, but what is the problem? Okay, it results into 16 rows. Okay, so if ever I'm going to select asterisk from TBL stud subjects, I have only 4 rows. So therefore, supposedly, I'll have only 2 subjects for 101. I think that's Mira and Bia. So there should be only 4 subjects. But as you could see here, all records has been returned. It multiplied actually. Okay, so we must have to modify our SQL statement. Okay, let us analyze our okay. So now this is what we call as Cartesian product. Okay, in which all tables from table A as students and the subjects are matched. Okay, so I forgot something here. My on. Okay, I have no on inner join TBL student C on. Okay, A is equal to C. So I'm just going to again copy, select from student A, inner join table subjects B on A dot, no, it's not C. Inner join TBL subject C on A dot stud ID is equal to C dot stud ID. Okay, then another inner join inner join TBL subjects B. Okay, I'm just going to a bit here on B dot subject code, okay, is equal to C dot subject code. I hope this is correct. Then order by A dot stud name. Okay, it should return only 4 values. Okay, so no more misspellings here. Enter. Okay, there again. This one here. Okay, select. Okay, subjects C, subjects B, order by still I don't have the subjects there. Anyway, on the next videos we'll be using then PHP my admin. It would be much easier compared with this one. Okay, so we have select name TBL stud subject C on stud ID is equal to A stud ID, then B subject code and the C subject code, and the last is going to have order by the name. Okay, so a bit there. Okay, so on my first attempt I forgot to have this one here. Okay, so that's why it resulted into Cartesian product. Okay, now if ever this is not so much clear as of now, this is what you're going to take note. Okay, inner join, for example, on my first inner join, okay, on A that primary key is equal to C that foreign key. Okay, so this now on this is what we call as related fields. Okay, on the next join, okay, B for TBL subjects. Now let's go back with here. This is A, B, and C. A that stud ID is equal to C that stud ID. Okay, that's the first join. Give it there. Then another inner join on TBL subjects, which is the TBL subjects there, and we call it B on B that subject code, meaning this subject code here is equal to C that subject code. C that subject code. Okay, A that stud ID is equal to C that stud ID, and B that subject code is equal to B that subject code. Primary, foreign key, primary and foreign. No, foreign key. Okay, and this results to this one here. Okay. So during our laboratory, we're going to have some more exercises on these commands so that you could master how are you going to use or issue SQL commands with multiple related tables. Okay, so that's all for today, and I'll see you on the next one.